So we are discussing about VHDL programming, and in that we are discussing about basics of VHDL programming. Okay, so till now we have discussed about what are the different units of VHDL programming, and in that we have discussed about what is library declaration, then what is entity declaration and architecture declaration. Okay, so that part we have discussed. But now when we discussed about packages, that time we have not discussed in detail. So we will now focus on that part of VHDL programming. So as I earlier said that we need to declare libraries when we are writing a VHDL program. Okay, now what is library? It can be considered as a place where the compiler stores its information about a design project. That means whatever design project that you are doing, for that what is the information that will be stored in compiler stores that information in that library. Okay, and then we have certain packages, a VHDL package, that is a file or module that contains declaration of the commonly used objects. Okay, then data types that we are using, then component declaration, then signals. Okay, that is in out signals or whatever are the inside that systems signals that are present, then procedures and functions. So that can be shared among different VHDL models. So all these contents are present in a VHDL package. Okay, so whenever we want to use any package, that time we need to define a library. Okay, that means in which library that package is present, that we need to define and then use clause to add that package. Okay, so that means in our earlier session also we discussed about this, how to declare library. So we need to use a keyword, that is a library, and then library name. Okay, and after that we are using a use clause and then library name dot library package name dot all. So all the files inside that package that will be included. Okay, so we have taken one example also for that already. So that is, we used IEEE library. Okay, so we used the syntax, that is library IEEE. Okay, and then we used use clause and then IEEE, that is the library name, dot standard underscore logic underscore 1164. Okay, so this is a package name which is present in this IEEE library. Okay, and then dot all, that is all is a keyword, so it will include all the files or all the models which are present in that package. Okay, so this is the how we are declaring a library and then how we are using a particular package in that library. Okay, so if we consider a library IEEE, okay, so which is the inbuilt library which is present in a VHDL, and mostly this is the default library that gets selected. Okay, hello. Okay, then the different packages that are present in this library are standard logic 1164 package, which defines about the standard data types. Okay, and most of the VHDL program that uses this package. Okay, besides that it has standard logic arithmetic package which provides arithmetic conversion and comparison functions for signed as well as unsigned, then integer, standard unsigned logic, then standard logic. For all these purpose we can use this package. Okay, and one more package that is present, that is a standard underscore logic, std underscore logic underscore please package which defines supplemental types. That means whatever are the supplements which are not present in 1164 package, so that are defined in this package. So there are certain subtypes, then constants and functions that are present in this package. Okay. Now also there is a one more library that is present, that is a synopsys. Okay, and in it has one package, that is a synopsys attributes. That means in that package attributes are defined. Okay, but mostly we are using IEEE package, and again in that for our applications we use standard logic 1164 package. Okay. So now these whatever we discussed now, so these are the inbuilt packages. Okay, that means these are available in a VHDL programming, that is a IEEE package library, and then packages with that. But if we want, or one can wants to add certain libraries and packages, then that also possible in the VHDL programming. Okay, so one can add other libraries and packages also. So as I said earlier, what is VHDL package? It is a file or module that contains declaration of commonly used objects, data types, or component declaration and all that, signals, procedure and all. Okay, so here if we want to add another library, then another library and packages, then for the package the syntax is package, this is a keyword, then package name which will be followed by keyword is, and then there will be a package declarative item, and then end package name. Okay, so this will be the first part of this package syntax, and after that there will be another part which is called as a package body. So the package body, then package name is, and then package declarative item that will be present in this. Okay, so a package declaration that declares all the names of the items that will be seen by the design units that use the package. Okay, so whatever are the items that need to be seen by the design unit that are present in the declaration, and then a package body that contains the implementation details of the subprograms which are declared in the package declaration. Okay, so here this package body, it is not required if no subprograms are required in package declaration. Okay, so it is not mandatory to have package body, but just if we declare package declarative item, then that is also sufficient if there is no subprograms are present. Okay, so the separation between package declaration and package body, that serves the same purpose as the separation between the entity declaration and architecture body. So how we are differentiating, or how we are separating entity, where we just declare input and output ports, and in a architecture there are only there is a how that system is going to behave, that is declared in the architecture. So like that only here is there. पॅकेज डिक्लरेशन मध्ये आपण काय करतो तर फक्त जे काही नेम्स आहेत कंपोनंटचे दॅट वी डिक्लेअर अँड देन इन अ बॉडी सब प्रोग्राम्स आर डिक्लेअर्ड. ओके, so this is the example for package declaration. Okay, so how we can declare a package. Now here the name given is a x_pkg, that is the package, and the procedure that is defined, that is a incrementer. Okay, so for that package we need to define a behavior of the function that is separately in a package body. So this is the example that is shown for package declaration. We will not go in much details about this, how we have defined this, but whenever we are going to do programming actually, so that time we will go in much detail. But now you can see that here these are the names of the items that will be seen in the for the design units. Okay, so declarative part you can see here, and then package body that is seen here, where there is a procedure incrementer. That means this process that is defined, okay, and then the end of that package. So now this package that you can include in your program, okay. So such a type of packages that you can include in your package, program, and then that user defined package that can be available for the design unit. Now one more concept in a VHDL programming, that is a configuration, okay. So this is a very advanced concept in VHDL. It is a specification of the mapping between an architecture and particular instance of a entity. So as an entity may have several architectures during the design process, so a designer may want to experiment with the different variation of a design by selecting different architectures, okay. So by default a configuration exists for each entity. So whatever you are writing entity, for that entity by default there will be a configuration that will exist, okay, and this default configuration maps most recently compiled architecture to the entity. Now you must be remembering that in earlier session we discussed about 3 different architecture styles for full adder, okay. So designer may use any one of that architecture, okay, but for entity that we are writing, that is a same for all these architectures. So the designer whenever we are using that or whenever we are compiling that architecture, so recently compiled architecture will be mapped to the that configuration will map to that recently compiled architecture, okay. So configuration can be used to provide fast alternative of components, instances of structural or hardware design, okay. The configuration declaration starts with the configuration name and then it is associated to a given design entity. So if we look for the syntax of this configuration, so you can see that this configuration declaration starts with configuration name and then it is associated to a given design entity, okay. So as it is mapping to a entity, so here we need to specify the entity name, okay. So syntax for configuration is the keyword configuration, then configuration name of the entity for which we are mapping, okay, is, and then there will be a configuration declarative part. Okay, then this declarative part of the configuration that may contain the clause, then attribute specifications and group declarations, okay. So these may be present in a configuration declarative part. And the main part of the configuration declaration that contains so-called blocks configuration, okay. So that means here this is the second part which is after this for keyword, that is the or for clause here, that is the main part of this configuration, okay. This indicates which architecture will be used with the entity that is specified earlier, as well as which configuration elements will be used in the component instances. So that means here which architecture that we are going to use. So as we have seen for full adder, we have structural, then data flow and behavioral type of modeling, that is architecture declaration. So out of that which configuration we are using or which architecture that we are using for this configuration, that will be specified, and then it will be end of that configuration declaration, okay. And this is the example for configuration declaration. So as I said earlier, so our full adder entity which has 3 architectures, and for structural architectures we have 2 half adders and 1 OR gate, okay. So as we have seen that in a structural architecture we used 2 half adders and 1 OR gate. So this example that shows the configuration of entity full adder, okay, and then here you can see that this configuration for full adder configuration which is named as a fadd underscore configured for full adder is, and then for structure as we are using a structural architecture, so it will be we are given the name that is a for structure, and then for half adder 1 as well as half adder 2, so we are using this entities that is to the library Buzin, and half adder entity has got more than architecture, one of which is a structure. Okay, so this is the example. We will see more details when we are actually using this or whenever we are actually programming this. So this is about the configuration declaration. Okay, so till now we have seen different declaration parts in this VHDL programming, and now let us discuss about the whatever are the different data objects that we are using in VHDL programming. Okay, so this data object that is created by object declaration. Okay, so it holds a value of a specific type. This object can be of 3 classes. One is the constant, then another one that is a variables, and third one that is a signal. Okay, the class of the object is specified by a reserve word that appears at the beginning of the declaration of that object. Okay, so whenever we are declaring any object, this class of that object, either it is a constant, then variable or signal, that will appear at the beginning of that declaration. So till now we have seen the signals, okay, so that are used as a input or output ports or internal net. Okay, so that we have seen there. Then these signals can be considered as a wires in schematic that have the current value or the future value, and on the other hand, variable and constants that are used to model the behavior of a circuit that is used in processes, procedures and functions. Okay, so this is the data objects that we are using. These are the different classes. Now we are going to see in details what are these classes. Okay, so first of all we'll see a constant type of data object. Okay, so now what is mean by constant? It is an object which is initialized to a specific value, or we can say it to a constant value when it is created, and this value cannot be subsequently modified. That is the constant. Okay, so this is the constant data type. Now constant declarations that are allowed in packages, entities, architectures, then subprograms, blocks and processes. That means whenever we are writing a program, so that time we can have these declarations in a packages, entities, architectures and subprograms and all. Okay, so the syntax for this is we have to, as I earlier said, this class of that object will appear by default earlier. Okay, so there will be a constant which is the class of that data object, then constant name, and if there are number of constants, so that we can add by separating with a comma. Okay, then colon, then type of that object, and then in the there will be a colon equal to an initial value of that constant. Okay, so that will be the syntax of constant. Okay, so here this initial value, that is a optional. Okay, so if you may skip that term. Okay, this constant can be declared at the start of an architecture. and then be used anywhere within the architecture. Okay, so here this constant that we can define at the start of architecture. Okay, so that that value could be used in anywhere in that architecture. Now if we are using these constants in a specific process, then we need to process that or we need to declare these constants in that process only. Okay, so if we take example of this constant, then we can have suppose the constant name is s, then constant s colon, now if it is a boolean type, then boolean, then colon equal to and true value. Okay, so this is the initial value, and then it will be followed by semicolon. Remember that it is semicolon indicates end of that statement. Okay, now the another example you can see here, that is a constant char7, that is a char7 colon. Now this is a vector. Okay, so this is a bit underscore vector type, and then in the bracket 4 down to 0, that means it will be from if we are considering it as a C4 to C0. Okay, and initial value that is or the value that is declared, that is 0 0 1 1 0. Okay, and then followed by semicolon. Okay, then constant MSB which is an integer type, and it has the value that is 5. Okay, so these are the examples of constant. Okay, so remember that these are having specific value when it is created, and then we cannot change this value or we cannot modify this value subsequently. So that is a constant type of data object. Okay, is it understood to all? लक्षात आलंय सगळ्यांना? Is there any doubt about this? Okay, so let us proceed. Now another type of data object, that is a another class of data object, that is a variables. Okay, now what is variable? Okay, to whom you call variable? Numbers. Actually the variables can have a single value as said, but it use like a constants. Okay, so variables can have single value like a constants, but variable can be updated using variable assignment statement. Okay, that means variables are used to hold temporary data. Okay, in constants we cannot change or we cannot modify that value, but here these variables are used to hold temporary data. That means they will get updated depending on the data flow. Okay, so they can only be declared in the process or a subprogram. We cannot declare it otherwise. We have to declare this in a process only, as these are going to change or these values are going to change. So we need to declare it in a process or in a subprogram. And the syntax of this is variable, then variable, this variable, that is a keyword, then variable name, and if there are number of or multiple variables are present, then separate it with a comma, then semicolon, type of that variable, and after that there will be a value, initial value of that variable that will be present. Okay, now here this curly bracket, you must have seen this curly bracket many times. So this curly bracket represents that if possible these values will be present, and square bracket that shows that it is optional. That means it is not mandatory to have whatever inside that square bracket. Okay, so this example of this variable, that is, now suppose we have two variables x and y, then we can declare it as a variable. This is a keyword. Then x comma y colon bit. Okay, so that means these two variables are of bit type. Okay, and then end it with a end this statement with semicolon. So another example that you can have it as a variable temp semicolon, it is a bit underscore vector, that means this is a vector, and then in the bracket 8 down to 0. Okay, then another example, that is a variable delay, which is a integer type and it ranges. So here now range is given for this integer, so range 0 to 15, that means this delay will vary from 0 to 15, that is specified, and initial value, that is also specified here, which is 5. Okay, so here in this example you can find that initial value is specified, then range of that integer, that is also specified. Okay, so these are the variable data objects. Okay, then next is the signal. Okay, now as we have seen, the signals, these are the input or output ports, or we can say the interconnections. So in a design entities, signals connect all the design entities together and then communicates changes in the values between the processes. Okay, so whatever are the changes in that values that are communicated by the signal. Okay, they can be interpreted as wires or buses in the actual circuit. Signals can be declared in the packages, that is, that if it are declared in packages, then these are the global signals. Then if they are declared in the entities, then they are entity global signals, and architectures, that is the architecture global signals, and also they are declared in the blocks also. So we can declare in the entities so that it will be global, and then in architecture, blocks and packages. Okay, so the syntax for this is signal. Okay, again the keyword which is of the class of that object, then signal name. Okay, if there are number of signals, then it will be followed separated by the commas and it will be present of the same type. Okay, so remember that जर ते सेम टाइपचेच असतील तर ते तिथे येतील, से कॉमानी सेपरेट होतील. Then colon type of that signal, and then it will have its initial value. Okay, so this will be the syntax of this signal data object. Okay, so if we look at the examples for this, here you can see that there is a signal. So let us start now again. So we were discussing about the data objects, and then in that we have seen three different classes. One is the constant, then variables and signal. Now can anybody tell me what is difference between variable and signals? Okay, as we studied, what is variable? Variable, we can change the data. Okay, or it can change the data, or in another words we can say it can update its values. Okay, and in a signal, that also it updates data. But what is the difference between variable and signal? If we look at the difference, the major difference is that a variable, it updates itself instantaneously, while the signals has a certain delta delay. It is a very short, but it has certain delay for updation. Okay, and that is the difference between variable and signal. Okay, so this is about the data objects that we are using in a VHDL programming. Okay, now let us go for the data types. Okay, now each data object as you have seen that whenever we are declaring all these data objects, that time we need to specify its type. Okay, so here every object, data object, that is has its type associated with it. Okay, and this type declaration defines the name of the type and the range of the type. So these type declarations that are allowed in package declaration sections, then entity declaration sections, architecture declaration sections, subprogram declaration section, and process declaration sections. That means almost whenever we are doing VHDL programming, in every section we need to specify a data type. So these data types that include enumeration type, then integer types, then predefined VHDL data types, then array types, record types, then std underscore logic data types, then signed and unsigned data types and subtypes. Okay, so these are the types of data. Okay, so data type that we need to specify whenever we are using certain data objects. Okay. Okay, all the possible values of that data type that are specified, okay, under this declaration. Okay, so that is a enumeration type of data. Then the another type, that is a integer data type. Okay, so integer data types that has the values, that is the mathematical integers. So when they are useful? They are useful for counting, then indexing and controlling the loops. Okay, so whenever we need to control the loops, that time these values are important, are useful. Okay, in most VHDL implementations, typical value of these integers that ranges from -2 147 483 647. Okay, can anybody tell me what is this range? So that is the -2 raised to 31 minus 1 to plus 2 raised to 31 minus 1. So this is the range of the integer that we can have. Okay, and the syntax for declaration of this type of data, that is type, then type name, is a range. Okay, now here whenever we are declaring integer type, then that time we need to specify the range and then integer range. So in the earlier example you must have seen there we declared the range. Okay, so now example of this is a type, then integer is range from, okay, you can read that number here. So it is a 2147 483647 to plus 2147 483647. Okay, or we can have another example, that is a type. Okay, now integer name that we have selected as a count is range from 0 to 9. Okay, so this is the integer type of data. Okay, okay. Now let us discuss about predefined VHDL data types. Okay, so when we are considering IEEE library, okay, so there are specific packages that are present, okay, for the data type, that is a standard and Textio. Okay, in a standard library, each this contains a standard set of types and operations. So here this summary of this is defined in the standard package. Okay, so the first is that data type, that is a boolean, which is an enumeration type which has two values, either it is a false or true. Okay, so boolean, that means it will have a false value or true value. So the logical operations and relation operations return to boolean values. So whenever we are considering any logical operations, so either it may be having false value or true value. So that time we need to specify its type as a boolean. Okay, then bit, again it is a enumeration type of values, as it will have two values, either output will be 0 or 1. So again for the logical operations we can have this, and then output will return to bit values. Okay, then character type, which is again a enumeration type of ASCII set. So all non-printing characters are represented by 3-letter name, which are printable characters are represented by themselves in a single quotation marks. Okay, so this is the character. And then another type, that is an integer, which represents positive and negative numbers. Okay, so the range is same as I told earlier, that is a minus 2 raised to 31 minus 1 to plus 2 raised to 31 plus minus 1. Okay, and whenever we are doing mathematical functions like add, subtract, then multiply and divide, so we apply to integer types. Okay, so this is a predefined VHDL data types. So we have used so many times bit type of data type, then integer, so that will come as a predefined VHDL data types. Okay, and some more predefined VHDL data types are natural, which has subtype of integers used for representing natural numbers. Then positive, that is a subtype of integers used for representing positive numbers. Okay, then bit underscore vector, this represents an array of bit values. Then string, bit is an array of characters. A string value is enclosed in double quotation marks. Okay, then real type of data, that is represents real numbers, that ranges from e raised to minus 38 to plus 38. Okay, and then physical time type, that is a time which represents a time value used for simulation. Okay, so these are the predefined VHDL data types that are used in a VHDL programming. Okay, so here are some examples of this predefined VHDL data types. So here you can see type boolean, that is declared, how it is declared. So type boolean is, and in the bracket its possible values, that is a false or true. Okay, then time bit is in the quote, single quote they are specified, that is a 0 and 1. Okay, so here these are the different examples how we are declaring a standard package. Okay, so data types in a standard package. Okay, so there are some more data types, but we will discuss about that data types in the next lecture. So for today we will stop here, and then in the next session we will start from the remaining data types. Okay, so if you have any doubts you can ask me.